Hey guys, welcome to Fantasy Effect episode 37. We got the week 1 studs and duds, and we're brought to you by Dynasty Theory in partnership with Dynasty Daddy and always Fantasy Football Infinity. McSpanky Holler, how's it going, guys?
Good, man. We got a full slate of games this last weekend. We got some guys who crapped the bed, some guys who came out of nowhere and were awesome. So super excited to talk about that too.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Good. Football is totally back, baby. I was stoked. It was a great weekend. Watched some red zone. Watched the late night game. Only for a little bit, to be honest. That was a crappy game. And then Monday night game was good, but it was pretty sad.
Yeah, that's fine. Anyway,
good for you, Ron.
Don't let me go. You guys want to start me up? We got a lot to talk about. Man.
Yeah. Lots of football, baby.
Well, I'll kick us off here. So just kind of like a general high level week 1 just don't overreact to the week 1 box scores. Yes. Some of those box scores can be kind of misleading, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but week 1 performance doesn't always indicate like future the long season success. And I pulled up some names. So last year, week 1, these running backs finished as an RB1 week 1. DeAndre Swift, Kareem Hunt, Cordarrelle Patterson, CEH, Dontrell Hilliard, and James Robinson.
Wow. Who's Dontrell Hilliard? I'm just kidding.
Exactly. He played for the Titans. And then these receivers were also top 12 wide receivers week 1. Michael Thomas, Devin Duvernay, and Robbie Anderson. So just because someone has a good week 1 doesn't mean that they're going to, be awesome. So just keep that in mind.
It does not. That is for sure. Holler, what you got?
So I was just kind of banking off of Spanky a little bit, but week 1 offenses looked really rough overall. There were some that were really good, but I would just say overall they looked pretty rough. So in my, just stay the course. That's kind of what I'm doing. Don't worry if you had a rough week. I know if you have multiple leagues, you had plenty of rough weeks. And the offenses will get into form. Not many of them actually play in the preseason. If some of them do play in the preseason, it's really not the whole offense playing together. So I think the big difference is most of the line, like O-line, don't play. And so a lot of O-lines, I was watching games, and the O-line in general, just most of them looked rough, right? And so I just think, stay the course. Week 1s the offenses will get into form.
Yes, indeed. I'll just kind of reiterate what you guys say. I mean, really, this first month, we're kind of figuring out who's who and what's what. You can't really draw many conclusions out of a 1-game sample size. I think we really need that first month to kind of say, hey, this is kind of the direction we think things are going. And even then, we're wrong. You know what I mean? Even after that first month. So do we move into the news? And the big news of Aaron Rodgers, torn Achilles, out for the season. Is his career over? What do you guys think?
I don't think so. I think he said today the report came out that he plans on fully rehabilitating and fulfilling the rest of his contract. So I think he will play next year. Whether he's good or not is going to be another story. Like, he's not exactly mobile to begin with, but coming off of the torn Achilles, like, I'm concerned for. I mean, he just has to move around in the pocket. So hopefully he's okay.
I watched that. I saw that video multiple times, and my goodness, that's just like the snap of that Achilles was
bad.
But yeah, he'll be playing next year for sure. It's super hard to come back when you're that old. And so we'll see. I mean, it would be totally different if he was young, but I just
ayahuasca does miracles for people, though.
We'll see. We will see. So I just think next year he'll be playing for sure. But there's a lot of hope for the Jets this year, and that kind of just got crumbled.
You guys don't have a lot of faith in Zach Wilson?
Absolutely not.
We've seen this song and dance before.
I agree. Another torn Achilles, J.K. Dobbins. That is super unfortunate. We thought we were going to get a full season of J.K., and yet again, here we are sitting and waiting.
Yeah, this one sucks, right? Because J.K. Dobbins, super talented running back coming out of college, and then he just hasn't been able to stay on the field. Like, he has all the talent in the world to be like a top running back in the league, but he can't play. So, I mean, honestly, dude, I mean, he could probably come back again, but how many rehabs can you do before you just go like, you know what? It's just not going to work out.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue too is he's not he doesn't have a contract right now. So I think that it's really going to hurt him next year. He's going to have to do a lot of his own rehabbing, going into next season. He's going to have to do a lot of practice on his own before somebody picks him up, because I don't think he'll get picked up unless somebody gets an injury during preseason. So I just think this one in general just hurts him a lot.
So I think though, because it's the last year of his contract and he only played in one game, I think you have to play like 4 games for your contract to
really
count. So I think his contract, I think he just like starts over again as like the last year of his contract next year. I could be wrong on that, but I think if I remember that's how it works.
That's super good for him, because I don't think anybody's going to want to just go out and grab he just has that injury bug. I think every season he comes up with something. Mm-hmm. He looked good before he got injured. I had some good hope, but then boom, again, another injury.
Yes, indeed. And it is definitely unfortunate because he was explosive, and I wanted to see him in the Todd Monken offense.
I know. That a lot of I thought there was going to be more passes and things like that, but the Ravens, that's what they do. They run the ball. So
John Harbaugh will never change. So don't ever believe his lies.
Yeah. So I think that's such a big bummer, because there's some hope for him, being an RB2 this year.
Yeah, I agree. Well, another disappointing. This one hurts me. Diontae Johnson on his hamstring.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise, 4 weeks gone. Not that it looked real great on Sunday, but at least he could get some volume.
He was getting a lot of targets before he got hurt, and this one sucks. Yes. I have so much Diontae too. This one really hurt me. It is up to 4 weeks, so I'm hoping it's less, but I don't know. We'll see.
Those hamstrings can linger, and I agree. I have a ton of Diontae. He was super cheap. Most people are on Pickens, and like kind of what I've been saying, I didn't see too much from Pickens. He's a boomer bust guy, and Diontae is the one that was getting the target. So this is a big bummer. He's a really good flex play, and so that's such a big bummer. I'm hoping it's less than 4 weeks, but those hamstrings can linger, so we will see.
Yeah, and the hamstring can get re-aggravated so easily. It seems like whenever somebody comes out there, we almost lose another game, after that first initial comeback. Like, nobody's ever fully healthy. We got Jakobi Meyers in the concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Spanky, this is your neck of the woods.
Did you guys see the hit that knocked him out?
It was like annihilated.
It was at the end of the game when the game's on the line. He got lit up. I was really worried for him. He got up and walked off though, which was nice. He looked like he was on another planet, which was scary. He's definitely. I mean, he's not officially out yet, but there's no way he's going to clear concussion protocol. So I think he's out at least this week. Honestly, it could be multiple with how rough that one was.
I will save to what more I have to say for Jakobi, but yeah, this is a big bummer as well, because I don't think they can put him back out there this week. I would be not very good. Yeah, there's no way. I agree. So this is a big bummer.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we got Kenneth Gainwell already out for tomorrow night's game on Minnesota versus Philadelphia. Anybody? Do we care? Do we not care? Does it matter?
I think you care, because he started the game for the Eagles and he led the team in carries. Like he made Rashad Penny a healthy scratch, and then DeAndre Swift only had like a couple touches. So
he was productive. He looked good. So I am a little bummed as well. That was another guy that's I can throw in my flex as well. So I don't think it's safe to fire up Swift, to be honest.
It is never safe to do it. However, if you're playing DFS on Thursday night, he's only 4K. So we're gonna light that up and see what happens.
I like that. It's a good plug. But I have a hard time. I need to see it from Swift. They did not even use him last game. So I mean, a couple touches, that's it. I need to see more, especially since Penny was a healthy scratch. I thought, okay, maybe they're going to do 50-50, but that was not good.
I guarantee we'll see more touches because of how much it's been talked about by Philadelphia. But the thing that I'll go back to and lean on is I don't think he's a fit for the Philadelphia Eagles and what they want him to do as a running back because his skill set, exists on the outside and catching passes from a quarterback who's not checking it down to running backs because he just runs it himself.
Yeah, I could see that as well. And just, I don't know. And I think they keep using Boston Scott because that's somebody that actually
Boston
fits.
Scott.
Yeah, they really do. And so is he behind Boston Scott? If he is, oh my gosh, that's
right.
That's
Scott also, he's a good special teams guy, so that's why he makes the 53.
Yeah.
That's fair. Mr. Boston Scott, he's won me a couple games here or there in some fantasy leagues at the end of years. Nice. The Giants games, dude. You got to play them.
Yeah.
Austin Ekeler is not practicing. Anybody worried about Austin, or is this is kind of just like how Austin Ekeler does it? I think.
I mean, he got banged up again. I bet he suits up and plays, but I think Joshua Kelly probably takes some more carries than you would probably like. But I'm not overly concerned about it.
I'm not too concerned either. But honestly, that it was. I don't know if it was weird to see that offense in general. There was a lot of rushing from the Chargers, and I was a little surprised by that. I'll talk about it a little bit more, but I was very surprised at how the game script was there because there's a lot of offense and there was a lot of rushing, and so I think they're going to be using both Ekeler and Kelly for the majority of the year.
Yeah, definitely. You can't not sit Ekeler if he's gonna, or you can't sit Ekeler if he's gonna be on the field. That's
you gotta play him.
Agreed.
Okay, you guys want to get into your week 1 duds?
For sure. Hollar, you want to kick us off?
Do it.
Yes, sir. So my first one here, I'm going to go with, I'll start QB, then I have a couple running backs, and then I have a wide receiver and a tight end. So I'll start with Justin Fields. Obviously week 1, we kind of talked about it already, but overall that offense looked brutal. So I just think I've talked about it before. I just don't think Justin Fields is a very good passer. And I wanted to see more, it was rough overall. So I think there's much better games to come, but that was one of my duds. There was, a lot of hype with DJ Moore and, the offense in general. And so I'm just a little bit worried. And so that was, my big QB dud of the week. And then Christian Kirk is my wide receiver. I need to see it a little bit more, but I'm a same thing, a little bit worried. I think a lot of that's Ridley's going to take over a lot. And so I need to, I'm not hitting the panic button just yet with Kirk because he had such a great year last year. And so I just, he had a good number of routes. He didn't have very many targets, but he was on the field. And so I just think I'm worried that Zay Jones got as much work as he did. That's my one worry.
Yeah, Zay was out there beasting, man. That one touchdown catch. Woo, buddy.
Yeah. He looked
man.
That catch was super good. And
Zay's the dude that does the freaky stand up too, isn't he? That doesn't when he falls down, he stands up super crazy. Yeah, man, he's wild. I wish I could stand up like that.
Yep.
Anyway,
and then we kind of talked about him already, but Swift is my big dud, but it was hard, because he didn't get much work. So I might, he might be back on the show next week if he, doesn't put anything on the field tomorrow. So we'll see. I'm not panicking on any of these players, to be honest. Antonio Gibson, I put him on there as a dud because he just coughed up the ball. I thought he would have been way better. I've already talked about Brian Robinson before. I'm still in on Brian Robinson because he put together a good game. I know it was against Arizona. That was just overall that game was ugly. But he did catch one touchdown. He actually caught a touchdown. So that's pretty big for Brian Robinson. And he also, he holds on to the ball. So I think they're going to feel more comfortable with Brian Robinson than Antonio Gibson. And then my last one was Michael Mayer. Didn't even register a target, right? I'm worried about that. But it does take time with rookie tight ends. So again, like I said earlier, I'm not panicking on any of these. I think Michael Mayer is going to have much better days ahead of him.
Yeah, I do too. I think, Josh McDaniels doesn't really play rookies, especially not
Yeah.
week one. That was a close physical game in a
Yep.
in a division rival. So I think targets will come there, but it may take a little bit.
Yeah, Ben, I totally agree. Gibson didn't do much at all, and so I think it's wheels up for B-Rob. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. Yep. Let's that offense that sticks between the 20s out there in Washington. Let's go Commanders.
Hey,
who are they playing this week?
He shut that down.
We'll go through that later in the week 2 matchups. Okay. McSpanky, let's hear your duds.
Yeah. So I touched on it earlier, right? So a couple of receivers here that put up goose eggs, right? The box score, if you just look at the score and just see the zeros, it looks like, oh yeah, they both were terrible, and they were. So T. Higgins and Drake London both put up zeros, didn't get a single catch. It was pretty rough. However, T. Higgins, I'm much more optimistic on a bounce back. So he was second on the team in targets. He had a 24% target share. He had 3 red zone targets, which happened to be all of the Bengals' red zone pass attempts. So, like, he just didn't like catch any of them, right? Which is bad. It's bad, but the whole offense just looked horrible, right? So, the what's promising there is he was getting work, he was getting targets. He just just whatever happened, like the offense was just out of sync. It was bad. Drake London though, so he also didn't get a single catch. He had only 1 target. And the entire offense only had 17 pass attempts. So, like, it's just not that whole situation is horrible. Like, there's not a very good passing volume. He wasn't getting like the bulk of the targets, and their quarterback's bad. So I'm legitimately concerned about those two, or about Drake London. Kyle Pitts is in a similar boat. He had 3 targets, but all the pass catchers on that team that's terrible. In terms of quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett, that one was a bummer. He had 46 pass attempts, which was like one of the most pass attempts in the league this week, but only mustered 230 yards and a touchdown and 2 interceptions. That's a bummer. I was banging the drum for him to have a nice bounce back year. Now he did get a tough test in the 49ers defense week 1, so I'll give him kind of the benefit of the doubt. We'll see. He needs to step it up. Daniel Jones
can't be that bad every week.
No way.
Daniel Jones, that was terrible. I mean, he led the league in getting sacked. He had 7 sacks. This past week, that was awful. And then every single tight end, literally, there were only 2 tight ends that went over 50 yards in week 1. It was Luke Musgrave and it was Hunter Henry.
That's insane.
Just what the heck,
Hunter
man?
freaking Henry, dude.
It's crazy. So
he refuses to go away.
But
yeah, there's definitely should be some balance on that end. Geez, Louise,
I was just gonna touch that. I am really worried about the pass catchers in Atlanta. Drake London and Kyle Pitts both have super high draft capital in Superflex Dynasty, and so they're both going like 4th and 6th round, or even earlier than that. And so, just Arthur Smith does not care about passing the ball. He wants to win. He's gonna put the hands in the ball of his 2 runners that are both solid. One is amazing and the other one's solid. And so I just think I worry a lot. I mean, especially if you have Drake London in a redraft, that's not good, because I think even in redraft he was going pretty high. I have him I have like 4 redraft teams, and I have him in 2 out of 4, and I'm going to sit him this week because I need to see some more from that offense.
Honestly, even in your dynasty leagues, like, can you play him? I mean, you might be in a position where you have to.
I mean,
that's what I was just going to say.
With the sunk cost there, you probably are playing them no matter what. I'd be looking to. I like to stick with London because I think Ritter and him had a connection at the end of last year, and I think that they were in a lead in this game, against the Panthers, in a positive game script for themselves. Let's see them play catch up a couple times. Let's see where Ritter likes to go with the ball then. And I think maybe some things could get better for London and or Pitts. I'm also worried about Ritter. I think it was halftime. He had like 8 for 10 and 20 something yards or whatever. It's like, goodness gracious. So I think a lot of passes are going to go to Bijan. And so I think that's, hard not to. It's really hard not to.
100%. But I just, those are my worries as well.
So, fun fact about Desmond Ridder, he had the league's worst ADOT on throws at 3.2 in the league this week, which is almost like comically bad. So,
yeah,
the numbers support the eye test there. Yeah.
So, I wonder if I think we've talked about this before, but I wonder if if that team keeps playing well, but the quarterback play is really bad. I wonder if they'll go out and if there's going to be any quarterbacks that will be available. I wonder if they'll go out and grab somebody, or if they'll just turn to Heineke.
I think you put it in the Heineken, man.
It'll be Heineke time at some point if it doesn't right itself. But I mean, if they keep winning games this way, there's no need for it to right itself. And for everything that I know, the locker room really likes Ridder. They think he's the leader of the team, this, that, the other. So there is something to be said about those type of things. Yeah, that is crazy. Indeed what he is. I mean, he did take Cincinnati to the playoffs, so the dude has some sort of moxie to him.
College football.
Yeah, college playoffs. Yeah. I wonder what you're looking at. I'm like, McSpanky, I know I'm right on this one. I know I'm right.
No, you are. I just was not on the same page. We're good.
Okay. Well, let me since you guys stole all my the places I was gonna go. I got one that hasn't been mentioned, and I think it's the Seahawks offense. That was surprisingly bad for what we saw last year, especially against a Rams team that we've all thought was going to struggle this year. They lost their tackles, I believe. That's kind of what we were discussing before. We know one tackle for sure.
I know one for sure
was missing for sure. But I just had it pulled up and then I went to the Giants. But DK with 50 yards and a touchdown. Lockett leaves with a concussion
in the first half.
That was
Did you guys see that stat? Like the whole second half, they put up 12 yards of offense.
I was gonna put that down on my 2-minute drive.
Sorry,
that is.
But
you're good.
How in the hell does that even happen? Like that's like you have to like try to be that bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to be at the game this weekend. It's gonna be sweet. Watch the offensive explosion happen. God.
Right now, Gina's gonna throw like 350 and 3.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
There's a big test for the Rams this weekend, and so I mean, this will tell us exactly who the Rams are. Because I think the Seahawks just had a horrible game. But I was looking into it a little bit more, and I think the Rams have a solid defense. I think we were kind of forgetting about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they just like Tennessee, they play hard for Sean McVay, and so that guy does not want to lose. And so I think he gets the guys together and gets them ready to play every weekend. So I think it's going to be a solid game this weekend.
I agree. I'm excited. I'm excited to see it. Kenneth Walker, though, 5 targets. That's exciting for a man that can't catch. And you know how many he caught? Don't read the yards after it, McSpanky. He caught 4 of those 5 targets. The yards don't matter.
Well, but also, I mean, they were in a perfect
negative
game script for him to need those targets. So we'll see what happens when they're more evenly matched. And I think that game was kind of a product of Seattle kind of outperformed expectations last year, and the Rams were way underperformed, and now they're kind of maybe regressing back a little bit. But
yes, I agree. We could be getting 0 to a pumpkin. That's for sure.
I was surprised at the lack of Charbonnet. I know that rookies don't get many carries in the first game, but he was hyped up a lot from the coaches, and so I was just surprised. But I said the coaches,
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, but I think in a positive game script he would have been used a little bit more, and so I think they're gonna, if you're behind and you got to just play your guys that
he'll get there. Just take some time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna take some time before he fully takes a bunch of carries from Kenneth, and then I'll be really sad about it. You guys want to get into your studs?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to hit yours first, Ron, since we stole yours?
So Brees, and then you guys, I got my wings clipped here, and then McSpanky put the real stats in here. At one point, Brees was averaging 50 yards a carry because he only had 2 carries during the game. But those 2 carries were electric, and wow, man. I just think for somebody coming off of an ACL and, Dalvin being signed, I think kind of put a little damper on the Brees return. I think we all thought maybe it'd be a slower start. It does not look like it'll be slow for Brees.
Yep.
The one
Tyler, get into your. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say real quick on Breece Hall. Like you can tell that he's not all the way back on his injury. Like last year, if he like on that 80-yard run, like that was a house call. This year he got ran down by a dude who runs a 4.5 40. So he's not quite there. Hopefully he gets there and then he can start taking some of the house again.
I don't know. Did you guys see that video of Garrett Wilson just throwing his hands up? He probably could have thrown a block, but he's just throwing his hands up.
I think he was just so used to Breece just taking those that he was
like,
I don't need to block.
Yeah,
agreed. So yeah, I think it's more Breece than Wilson, but still. Are you sure you don't have one more, Ron? There's one.
No, I want you to get into your boy.
I was very surprised you didn't put.
I had a whole bunch of stuff and then like family things.
Mac Jones, man.
Oh yeah. I should have put Mac Jones in here, shouldn't I?
I figured, yeah.
He showed out, man. B.O.B. back in the house with a competent offensive coordinator, and look what Mr. Mac Jones can do. That's what I've been preaching all summer long with Mac Jones. Let's see if he can continue it because he probably had to score some points to beat this team. So let's see what happens.
How often is he throwing the ball 54 times?
Listen, probably not every single week, but
or 30? any week. Again,
35.
I also don't think that I don't think the Eagles have the best, pass defense. I know their front is really their front seven is really, really good, but I don't think their pass offense or defense, is that good. So I thought he had a really good game. He went out there and he let it come back. And so I thought it was a really good game.
I'm gonna push back on. Oh, hold on. Let me push back a little bit on the Eagles not having a great secondary. The Patriots get made fun of consistently on a daily basis for their lack of weapons on that team. And Mac Jones just put up those numbers with those weapons. So it should be mediocre versus mediocre here.
I mean, that's fair. That is definitely fair. Mac Jones was working with a B crew of rosters there, but it's worth noting Philly's number 2 corner went out in that game, so they were down a corner, and then Darius Slay, who's like their big guy, he's on the wrong side of 30. So I do think there's some decline there, and they do just kind of rely on the front seven to get pressure to kind of cover up some of the holes that they have in the back end. But I mean, good for Mac Jones for taking advantage of it, right?
He went and did it.
Absolutely.
Pollard, this is your dude. You've been calling for him all summer long.
I want to start with my quarterback again. So Jordan Love, he actually put up a solid game. I got to be honest. I was the first one to say last week that I thought Chicago was going to come out and play a good game. I thought their defense was a little bit better. But Jordan Love put together a really good game. I think he had 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns. So 3 touchdowns it was. So he put together a solid game. Nothing to say like, oh, he's amazing, but he put together a really good, solid game. And so I was impressed by that. And then I have my boy Puka. Man, he put together a great game. That guy had 15 targets. 15, right? That guy had more targets than almost the whole. At one point, it was more targets than all of the team combined. So he looks really good. I don't think it will continue. What's really good for him is he's not the same type of wide receiver as Cooper Kupp. So when he comes back, Cooper Kupp does. I still think he's going to put together some good games. I'm sure he'll have games that are not good. Like I think this weekend is going to be a rough one. I'm going to start him, but I think this weekend will be a rough game in general. When I start them, those are teams that are like not that good. But yeah, no, I'm stoked. I have 18 shares of him. I think it is. I think I'm down to maybe 16 now. I think I shipped off 1 or 2 of them. But I'm stoked. This was the guy that I kind of planted my flag on. I grabbed him I think maybe once or twice in the 3rd round of a rookie draft, but most of the time it was the 4th. And a couple of times I got him off of waivers. So I'm stoked for him. And that was a really good game for him. Over 100 yards in a rookie. That's awesome. Yeah. My other guy was Jakobi Meyers. 2 touchdowns. It was a bummer that he got that big hit. I don't think he'll be playing this weekend. But it was really good to see. He had a good rapport with Jimmy G. But I worry because Devontae is still there. And so I just think that mostly it's going to be Devontae Adams. But I think it's going to be, Jakobi Meyers is going to be a really good flex play for you guys. And so I was impressed with Jakobi Meyers. And then 2 younger running backs I really liked. Roshan Johnson, I thought he did really well. they used him more, I think, because of that game script. They were, down, and I think they didn't really, but I think at the end of the year, those last maybe 8 to 10 games, I think he's going to take over and he's going to be really good. And what he was, they gave him touches and he produced. And then I kind of talked about it a little bit, but Josh Kelly, I was very impressed with Josh Kelly. And so I think he's going to be used a lot. I think it's going to be kind of I wouldn't say like fully two-headed monster, but I think it's going to be like a 70-30. Austin Eckler's a little bit older, and he does get banged up a bit. And so I think, Josh Kelly is going to be used a lot. I think it kind of will be a little bit like, not too much, but a little bit like how in Dallas they had Zeke and Tony Pollard. Obviously, those two running backs are not the same as Josh Kelly and Austin Eckler, but I think, it's going to be a little bit like that. And, so go Puka.
Puka Nacua.
Oh, real quick on the Puka thing, man, his trade value is nutter butters right now.
Crazy.
Like people are throwing out, early seconds, mid seconds, late seconds. Like that, I shipped off a bunch of them because people just kept offering me their second round picks, and I was just like, "Yep, I'm gonna auto accept that. I don't care if it's late, early, whatever. Like you took them in the 4th round, and now you're getting a second. Yes, please.
Right.
Yeah. That's super
I
good. I didn't get too many
offers.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't get too many offers. I did get one that I shipped off. I got A-Chain for I sent Kyron and Puka.
Yeah,
so
you
that
got
was
flamed a little bit for that too, which
I did.
Don't understand, but
Where
I did.
What?
I put it in the Discord, and a lot of people were kind of, it was like 50-50 to be honest. I think they were saying it's not good to be a healthy scratch, but I don't think he's fully healthy, so I don't think that was a legit healthy scratch. I do think A-Chain, well, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure he'll play this weekend. And
you should see him. Mostert's got some knee stuff going on.
Because Mostert's already banged up.
Yeah.
Which
this is when I would be concerned if I don't see Devin A-Chain.
Yeah, exactly. And that was another one of my guys that I kind of planted my flag on was A-Chain, so I really couldn't think twice on that one, and I just scooped him up.
Yeah. McSpanky, what you got?
Yeah, so you guys know the last month or two of the offseason, I've been hyping up Brandon Ayuk. So you better believe I'm taking my victory lap. I know it's week 1, but I'm taking it. Dude had a 31% target share. He had 2 touchdowns. He had 2 of their 5 targets in the red zone. Like he was Purdy's guy, and he dominated. Like, it's a pretty good defense. Honestly, the Steelers have a good defense. So I was super. I mean, I'd say it's above average in the league.
They just gave up 30 points.
Yeah, because Brandon Ayuk's a beast. That's why.
No, I mean, that is a super good offense. I'm sure that the Steelers defense is a little bit better than what we saw out there. That's for sure.
For sure.
I was just going to say, I think Ayuk is Purdy's like number 1 guy, to be honest. I've just every time, the end of last year with Ayuk, I think he really likes Ayuk. There's a good connection there.
For sure. Another guy here. So Kyren Williams on the Rams. This one's interesting, right? So looking at their snaps, Cam Akers got 56% of the rush attempts, where Kyren only got 38% of the rush attempts. They each got 1 carry inside the 5. But the weird thing is, so you can say like, they were in a positive game script, so they ran the ball a lot more than they will. And that's true. But in the first half, when the game was still on the line, Kyren outrushed him 8-4. So I think Kyren Williams might be. I mean, the Rams hate Cam Akers. Let's just. We all want Cam Akers to be a thing, but the Rams don't. Kyren Williams. It seems like he might be the favorite running back there, and so I'm interested to see how things continue to progress. And then let's see how they do against the 49ers this week. Yeah. And the last guy here, another one of my boys. You can see him on the intro and the exit when I talk about him. Jordan Addison, Daddy Addy. He had 6 targets. He had a touchdown. 3 of those 6 targets were in the red zone, which is huge usage. Like rookies already being targeted in the red zone a bunch, like on a good offense. That's yes, please. So really happy to see that he got started really well.
Yeah, he was going to be one of my studs as well, but you took him. But yeah, no, Addison, one of my favorite rookies, to be honest. It was him and JSN, and I think I got a lot more of Addison than I did JSN. And I think, Addison's in a better spot than JSN, so I think both are going to be really good. But I just think right now Addison's in a better spot to, excel early. JSN will kind of excel once Lockett kind of fades out.
Yeah, makes sense. Should we get into the matchups for week 2 here?
Let's do it.
We're going to need to haul through these because we got a lot of games.
All right, here we go. Vikings at Eagles. Gainwell out. We think Swift's going to get a little bit more. Primetime Kirk, and he might be down 2 starting offensive linemen.
Yeah, it looks like their center for the Vikings he hasn't practiced all week, and then their left tackle, I think he was a limited participant today. So if he plays, that's fine, but he's not going to be 100% on a short week against the Eagles front seven. And then Kirk has this. I mean, we've seen enough of Kirk Cousins in prime time where it's already bad. Now, if he has a bad O line against a good front seven, this could be dangerous.
Vikings starting 0-2
early. Yeah.
I hope so for our sake. All right, Collar, we'll go to you for the next one. Chiefs at Jags, the return of Chris Jones. Do we see Travis Kelce this week? T-Law versus Patrick Mahomes head-to-head.
I think this might be one of the games of the week, to be honest. This is going to be a really good game. I don't know. I haven't seen much positive news about Kelce playing. We will see, though. But I don't know. I think it will help the Chiefs a lot that Chris Jones is back and playing. And then the offense will still be rough, though, if Kelce doesn't play. I don't think I've heard anything, definitive yet. But I think that Jags offense is looking really good. So I might take the Jags this weekend.
Ooh. Bold choices from a bold man. Okay. Jets at the Cowboys. Can the Cowboys blank another New York team and make it 2 in a row? And life after Rodgers. McSpanky, go.
I don't know if they'll get another shutout just because shutouts in the NFL are so rare, but I do think this is going to be a turnover frenzy with Zach Wilson against a good defense. It's probably a low scoring game too. In terms of like fantasy options, I'm a little nervous to start any of them. I mean, you got to start Pollard, right? And you got to start like Garrett Wilson and
CD.
Probably, CD for sure. But this could be a really low scoring, good defensive game where I'm not super stoked to start either one of them, like any of these guys.
I agree. I was a little. I know the game wasn't very good, but I was a little surprised by Dak. He just looked like more of like a game manager. Of course, I think it was just kind of the game script. But to me, it was a little weird. He looked more like a game manager.
He does this every once in a while. Okay, Ravens at Bengals. Can the Bengals please stand up? And then also, sometimes the AFC North Division games are sloppy and low scoring. What do we got here, Holler?
I personally don't think it's going to be low scoring. I think the Bengals are going to put together a good week.
Great game.
I do know that O-line is rough, but I just think it will probably be a sloppy game. But I have a hard time thinking the Bengals are going to put together another crappy game. So I do think I feel good about both T. Higgins and what's his name this week? I don't know why,
Jamar Chase.
Rainford, thank you. And so I feel pretty confident with both of those guys this week. And I'm hoping Mark Andrews plays. I'm assuming he will, but I don't know for sure. And so, I honestly think it's going to be a pretty, good scoring game.
And Andrews is back at practice today. So
cool. Okay, good.
Awesome. Positive.
Yeah. Hopefully, I know it's normally sloppy and low scoring, but I hope there's some explosions in this one. We got Lamar Jackson and Jamar Chase. Hopefully some explosive stuff happens.
Zay Flowers, baby.
Yeah, all Zay. Colts at Texan. Anthony Richardson does not have a concussion. He has a bruise on a bone bruise on his knee. Jeez Louise, what a tongue twister that wasn't. He was a full participant in practice today. McSpanky, what do you think about this one?
I'm excited to see Richardson again. He did really well last week. He ran for a touchdown and threw for one. He looked pretty decent throwing the ball. Michael Pittman actually was surprisingly useful, which was awesome to see.
Yes.
And then the Texans, hopefully CJ Stroud. I mean, he got thrown into the Wolves against the Ravens defense last week. The Colts defense is a little more manageable to go up against. It sounds like Tank Dell. He didn't get a ton of snaps last week. I think he was in like the 30%, but it sounds like their coach said that he needs to get more involved. And so I'm excited to see, hopefully he starts, stepping up. I think Brandon Cooks is banged up a little bit. I think I saw he's, or sorry, not Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods.
He is banged up, but he plays for the Cowboys.
One of those old guys.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to say one of those Texas old guys on the teams, but so I don't know. We'll see.
I'm hoping to see a little bit more Dalton Schultz. I was just very surprised by that. But I just think overall that
Interesting.
he was cheap. I was trying to.
I think
scoop
he's
him
just
up when I could.
I've always just thought he was a fine tight end, and he's a fine tight end with a quarterback that loves throwing to his tight end.
Yeah, I see what you're
kind of
saying.
think that was more so a product of Dak than Schultz being this, awesome tight end prospect here.
I was a little surprised just because their offensive coordinator came from the 49ers, where the tight end is used pretty decently, like
Yep.
Kittle is. But maybe you're right. I mean, maybe CJ Stroud just doesn't like throwing the tight ends.
Yeah,
I think it's.
But I would love to go look and see how it was at Ohio State with tight ends. Obviously, tight ends
that was huge because they had NFL receivers on the field.
Garrett Wilson, and they're not throwing to many tight ends. Ask Dewey, he'll tell you. Bears at the Bucs. Will Baker stay undefeated versus the NFC North? And this one's probably going to get gross. Whoever put this one on the.
I was gonna say I don't. This is one I don't really want to watch. I was very surprised by the Bucs beating the Vikings last week.
I think everybody was. I think the Vikings were too.
Yeah, Baker looks solid, and I think both of the wide receivers. I hope Chris Godwin gets a little more work. I think they're just trying to kind of showcase Mike Evans maybe to move him, and so I think both of them are playable options, and I think the Bucs are going to stay undefeated. To be honest, I think they're going to beat the Bears.
Wow. Undefeated so Bucs with Baker Mayfield.
Bears defense was bad. They just kind of rolled over and let the Packers do whatever they wanted. Yeah. I think the Bucs too, we might have been too low on them just because every offseason report was like, oh my God, Baker looks terrible. And so we were just like, oh, they just suck. But maybe he's better than we think.
I don't believe.
I mean, it is week one, so it could just be like an aberration. So we'll see.
I think it was we took them by surprise, and the Vikings might have just overlooked a Baker Mayfield-led Buccaneers team.
Agree with that.
It still took everything the Bucs had to get that win, and the Vikings played very poorly. Packers at the Falcons. Does Aaron Jones' hammy slow the Packers' offense down? And Arthur Smith hates fantasy confirmed.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. I think Aaron Jones, I think he's on track to play. I thought I saw he was a limited. I don't know. I need to double check the Packers reports, but I think he is more trending towards playing than he is sitting out. Whether he's healthy or not is another story. We might see some more AJ Dillon.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't like
the
seeing
Falcons
him grab that hamstring after he sprinted.
Here's the thing with the Falcons. So we know they want to run the ball. They had their way with the Panthers. The Panthers are a bad defense. The Packers actually have a really good defense. So we'll see I don't know if they're going to be able to get away with the run the ball, 30, 40 times. They might actually have to let Desmond Ridder open it up. And so we might get a better chance to see what these receivers look like in Atlanta. But also Tyler Algier, man, he was getting all kinds of carries in the red zone. Which
1A, 1B,
not great, but
oh Lord,
but Bijan should still get plenty of work there. So it was a little concerning, but Algier is going to be more involved than we want.
Absolutely,
the cream rises to the top, guys. Eventually, Bijan's taking all that work. Eventually, you're not going to be able to hold him off the field.
100%. Real quick, Aaron Jones did not practice today.
Okay,
but a little quote from him is he said it's just a little bite, not a pull. He said I pulled my hamstring before, so I didn't really feel a pull, just a little bite. So we'll see. I'm assuming.
When he reached back there, I was like, oh no.
I'm assuming he will play, but maybe a little bit more of AJ Dillon. And a little less of Aaron Jones. I really saw he was very good last week, so I'm hoping that we don't see less.
He was.
It's also not uncommon for vets to kind of have a rest day on Wednesdays.
Yeah. Yep. And especially one that grabbed his hamstring after sprinting.
Yep. I think he's kind of like Austin Ekeler. They both are not going to practice today or didn't practice today, and so I think they'll both play.
Yeah, Taylor Decker didn't practice either. Nobody asked me about that. Anyway, Raiders at Bills. Josh Allen misses Brian Dable, and will the Bills D-line tee off on Jimmy Garoppolo like they did to the Jets? Quarterbacks.
Go ahead, Holler.
I was going to say, I think Josh Allen just played a very, very bad game. I think he wanted to go out there and show like, oh, he's this crazy. He's very very good quarterback, but he made some very, very bad decisions, and I think he'll clean that up. I do think he misses Brian Dable quite a bit, but we saw it last year. He was still a really good quarterback last year, so I think he'll come around, and I think unfortunately. I think that offense is going to get going this week. And sorry, Spanky, but I do think the Raiders are going to get killed.
Well, I don't know if they're going to get killed, but the Bills are going to have a better performance than they did. I mean, Josh Allen has these games sometimes where he just decides he's going to play Super Bowl and just starts throwing into all kinds of weird coverages, and he turns the ball over quite a bit. Generally speaking, he follows that up with a monster performance. So I do think there's going to be some fireworks there. As far as the Bills D line teeing off on Garoppolo, I mean the Raiders offensive line actually played pretty well.
Sure.
I think, well, I don't know if I want to say that, but I do think they'll be able to handle that. But without Jakobi Meyers, it might be a little dicey.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Is Jakobi Meyers out? I think that's going to be pretty big because he was used a ton, especially in that red zone. And so I think we'll see. Maybe Michael Mayer steps up, and that would be nice. But I do think
Renfro probably.
Yeah, definitely
the Renfro.
But I do think the game's. I do think the game's going to get out of hand. But I don't know. The Raiders have a very good defense, so we'll see.
It's
all I know is that for Aaron Rodgers, 4 plays, he was on his butt every single one of those plays. And I don't know if that's because he's Aaron Rodgers and he's just lost a step athletically at this point in time. Because I saw Zach Wilson was able to maneuver around the pocket, a little bit. But those Bills D linemen come in waves, just like the Philadelphia Eagles D line does.
The Jets O line is also pretty bad. So I don't.
Yeah, that's fair. Very bad, apparently. Okay, unless you're Breece Hall, and then it doesn't matter. Anyway, Chargers at Titans. Can the Titans keep up?
Yeah, so this is one of those. I'm always a little hesitant when West Coast teams go traveling out east and they're in the early morning time slot. They usually are kind of sloppier games. So, and Tennessee probably has. I mean, they have a pretty good defense. I think they might be able to kind of stall out the Chargers a little bit more than we would like. Yeah, I do think I still feel okay playing like Herbert and then Mike Williams and Keenan and all those guys, right? I do think though Derrick Henry gets going this week. He had a tough sledding against the Saints last week, but the Chargers run defense isn't anything to really be too scared about. So I think we might have a big Henry game this week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chargers have a terrible defense. So I just think I don't think it's going to be a shootout like it was. Titans have a really good defense overall. So I think the Chargers will come out with a victory, I think, but the Titans will keep it close.
Sure. All right, we got the 49ers at the Rams. Buckle up, Stafford. That D is for real. Can Puka and Kyron have good fantasy days against a legit defense? What do you guys think?
So I'll take this one because it's my Rams, but I personally do not think Puka is going to have that same type of game. I think he'll be, maybe we'll call it 4 receptions and about maybe 30-something yards or something like that. I just think I think it will be kind of more of a low-scoring game because the Rams do have a good defense and the Rams play very well against the 49ers at home. And so even though the 49ers bring their whole fan base down to, SoFi and they, it's not really a home game for the Rams, but I do think it's going to be a close. The Rams play their NFC West opponents really well. I could see this going one of 2 ways: very close, or just a shutout, or not a shutout, but like a
beat down.
The beat down by the Niners. Yeah. If we see the Niners
beat down by the Niners, to be honest with you.
If we see the Niners put a beat down, I think the Niners are. I do know they're for real, but I think that's like a really good. They're gonna probably go pretty far in the playoffs.
Do either of you feel comfortable starting Puka or Kyron Williams this week? Or Stafford, for that matter.
I mean, you probably have to start Stafford if you have Stafford.
But
I'm fine starting Stafford because I've seen him play against all droves of elite defenses with terrible offenses in Detroit, and he can still huck it and chuck it. I'll never not believe in Matthew Stafford hucking that ball down the field. That's why I'm comfortable I'd be fine flexing Puka. I think the targets will be there, but I don't think the yardage or the yardage and completions may not be there. The volume should be there for sure. Kyron as the pass catching back, though, I can think back to a day, when Matthew Stafford had Theo Riddick and Amir Abdullah, and it was just check down to those two guys, So he's not afraid to do that either. So I could see a world, where Kyron's okay as well with all his volume target wise.
I love Puka, but well, that's a good one.
That's a throwback right there.
Hey, man, I got to shake his hand. Giants at Cardinals. Yeah, can Daniel Jones get back on track, or is this the battle for the 101?
I do think the Giants get back on track a little bit here. I think they were outclassed against Dallas, but I mean the Cardinals are no Dallas Cowboys. No, that defense is pretty bad. I think yes, they did, but they greatly outperformed the talent they had, and then they came back down to earth a little bit here. So, but that being said, they have a better roster than the Cardinals do. I mean, Saquon should get back on track.
Yep.
And Daniel Jones hopefully doesn't, turn the ball over. I don't think he's going to be under such duress like he was. I think the offensive line can block the Cardinals defensive line. In terms of the Cardinals, I think James Conner, you probably going to fire him up. I don't know if you want anyone else. Maybe Hollywood. Maybe.
No, thank you.
But you're not going to feel good about it.
I don't really own much.
It wasn't great.
No, it never is.
I saw today that Darren Waller has a lingering hamstring that could be a nerve. So we're a little bit worried about that, to be honest. I'm assuming he'll play, but I think that's just going to probably linger the whole season. There'll be games that he probably doesn't play. So
that's what kept him out in Vegas last year for most of the season. Was that? I believe it's the same hamstring, so it's not awesome.
Yeah, that's not good.
All right, we're gonna move a little quicker. Commanders at Broncos, boring game of the week. Sorry, B-Hart.
Go B-Rob.
Yeah. Yep. It'll be a lot of grinding, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a gross game.
Yeah.
That's gross.
I really just could care less about that game other than Javonte.
Smash the under if you're a betting person.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes, indeed. Let's get to the Saints at the Panthers. Another tough matchup for Bryce Young here with that Saints defense that always seems to perform.
Yeah, I don't think you want to fire up any Panthers. Maybe Miles Sanders. Maybe Adam Thielen if you are feeling dicey. But on the Saints side of the ball, I mean, hopefully Jamal Williams can do something other than, he did nothing last week. It was pretty bad.
Whatever he did last week
Miller,
for 50 yards.
Hopefully he gets to make his debut this week. That would be awesome.
Yes.
Chris Olave, you definitely want to fire him up. I don't really want to fire up any Panthers, but the Saints, I feel pretty comfortable starting pretty much their entire offense.
I am not feeling Thielen.
Yeah, I would start Derek Carr.
I think the Saints will put together a better offensive game. I think the Panthers defense is no good, so I feel comfortable starting, most of the Saints. Michael Thomas, even he looked pretty good last week.
Yeah, Juwan Johnson, I'd start him too.
Juwan, yes. Yeah, get Juwan into your lineups. All right, Browns at Steelers. Was the 49ers game a fluke? And also, flip side, was the Browns game a fluke?
No to both. I think the Browns are going to be solid this year. I think they're going to be, play pretty competitive. I think this game will be closer than, against the Bengals. I think it will be a tough, we kind of talked about it with the Bengals and the Ravens. These AFC North. Yeah, yep. AFC North, they always play tough games. So I think this will be a close game. If I was, picking a team, I'm going to go with the Browns this week. I think the Browns are, starting to put together a good team. They're getting Nick Chubb more involved in the pass game. So I think that's going to really help them overall. I really didn't love Deshaun Watson, but he was, solid. So I think, I think they take down the Steelers.
I'm going to disagree. I think the Steelers win this game. I think the Browns just defensively, their defensive line was just lived in Cincinnati's backfield because their O-line was just such a cluster last week. So I think we'll see. But I kind of like the Steelers on the bounce back here.
I think it will be a much better offensive game. So I think, if I was putting out a number, I'd probably be 24-21 Browns. They're going to both put up some good points. And I think they are going to I think it's going to be a solid offensive game.
Defensive struggle 13-10.
Maybe.
I hope not.
Maybe.
That's what I see. Seattle at Detroit. I will be at the game. I am super hyped. I will be screaming my face off. Also, do we think Gibbs will get more involved in the offense? And I believe that he will. I think that I heard a very good argument as to why he wasn't. They're in Arrowhead. It's a very, kind of a culture shifting win, basically, if you go to Arrowhead and, you don't want your rookie out here with all the pressure in the world on his back. It makes sense to me. They got him out there. They got to dip his toes in. You don't want to give away everything that this guy's going to do for you on a weekly basis. Let's hide him as long as we can.
I don't know if it's that they were hiding it, but I do think, I saw, Ron, you actually shared this with me, so I'll give you credit here. Some rookies, their week one carries. Jonathan Taylor only had 9. Breece Hall had 6. Derrick Henry had 5. Travis Etienne had 4. Kenneth Walker had 4. Nick Chubb had 3 carries in their first career game. So I think it's more that. They're going to kind of ease them in. The thing that really just didn't sit well is they had the Lions on that kind of one of those critical drives. They got that false start penalty. They had a 1st and 15. And Gibbs makes this awesome tackle breaking run to pick up 16 yards in the first down, and then they let Montgomery just pound the rock 4 times and turn the ball over on downs. I'm like, okay, what are we doing here, guys?
That was so bad.
We got the W though. We walked out of there with the W. There's no asterisk in the win column either, Mike Tirico. God. Anyway, Dolphins Patriots. Shootout, Mac repeat, Tyreek another 200. Will Ramondre break 80 yards. Probably a low-scoring slog of the last 5 matchup between these teams have gone under 44 total points. Bill Belichick has got Tua's number.
A little bit, and just New England, they don't get into shootouts. Very, very rarely. I know they kind of did this last week, where it was the higher scoring game, but generally speaking, those games are I don't know. We'll see. They usually take away what you do best, and they kind of can attack your weaknesses pretty well, which is a bad offensive line. So I imagine they're going to scheme up some pressure on Tua.
Yep.
We'll see what happens, but I like a low scoring game here.
I agree 100%. I put that out there, shootout question mark, because the Patriots have a much better defense than the Chargers do. The Chargers defense is absolutely garbage. So I just think that it's going to be low scoring. Definitely, I would take the under on that number that they have out there if I was betting. And I do think there's going to be more for Ramondre. I think, that game script was just throwing the ball. Mac Jones is not going to get the same number of pass attempts as he did last week. So I think they're going to use more of Ramondre. Zeke coughed up the ball. So I just think, they need to get Ramondre involved a little bit more. They're going to have both of those guys involved, to be honest, but I think they need to get Ramondre involved a bit more.
So I think the Ramondre thing was he had a stomach bug on Friday, so he missed practice, and I doubt he was feeling 100%. And so I think that was more the lack of touches was because he was sick. So I expect him to have a kind of a bigger workload this week.
I agree.
Tyreek, another 200?
I don't think so.
That's tough to do, especially against old BB standing on the other side. He'll have to do it in 2 catches. They'll all have to be 100-yarders too.
If I was betting, I would take the under on 100, even 100 yards for Tyreek this week.
Yeah, I'm
under 100.
Curious to see. Let me see if I can pull up what his over/under is. You guys keep going.
2-minute drive. Let's go.
Yeah, my thing is, you guys. Well, we talked about it earlier. Don't go tanking your teams after week 1 just because you took an L. Maybe you took a bad L. Maybe your team underperformed and you're frustrated. Don't let it get to you. Just stay the course. Sit through this first month. Figure it out. Let the things play out a little bit here.
I like
Check
it.
on your Dynasty Daddy stuff. Let that be something to lie back on, especially if you're a contender or things of that nature.
Yep.
Great point. Just to really hammer that home. One of the leagues where I'm projected to be get the 101, my team randomly put up the most points in week 1, which so you just never know. Also, if you do are in that situation, just check Dynasty Daddy. Make sure you don't just start selling off your first because you think you're gonna go out and win it all.
Yeah, I have one of those that I sent my first away and I lost Aaron Rodgers and not so hot.
I have a couple of those too. Tyreek Hill's over under on receiving yards this week is 83.5. by the way.
Oh,
So that's a little.
Whew,
I
I'm
I
like
think,
right there.
I think you probably want to take the under, but
Yeah.
you're not going to feel great about it. Okay, my thing I had here, DFS play of the week. It's Josh Allen, which is going to hurt me a little bit, but he's 7,900 on DraftKings, so he's priced way up. But he's coming off a really bad game one, so I think that'll keep his ownership down in GPPs. I think he's a good cash play as well. He gets a Raiders defense. We talked about earlier, West Coast teams traveling out east for an early kick, kind of sleepwalk through the game sometimes. The Raiders D last week, you look at it and they only gave up 16 points, but they were the Broncos had 6 drives. They scored on 3 of those. One of them, they missed a field goal. And then one of them was at the end of the game where they were just trying to go down and score. I expect a huge bounce back from Josh Allen here. And I think he has one of those monster, 40-point, fantasy games this week.
Heyo.
yes, indeed. You guys excited for a week 2 of fantasy football, real life football, all the football combined together, the colleging, the professionaling. I can't wait. I'm going to a game. I'm just saying things. Get me out of here.
Yes, sir. Real quick, my Rams. I know they have a tough test this week, but I got to be honest, that defense is legit. They only gave up 17 yards to the Seattle Seahawks, and the Seahawks were pretty good last year. So I'm really stoked on the Rams. I did not think they would come out and be that good. And then Puka, I hope he continues the whole year, man, because that guy was very underrated, and he put out a good show. So I'm stoked for those Rams.
Gotta have my pooks.
That's right.
All right. On that note, let's get out of here.
See you guys.
Peace out.